What's up, guys? And I'm going to make the QB tiers for every QB in the 2021-2022 season. So let's get started. We'll start off with first Tom Brady. I think he gets S superior because Tom Brady he crushed a lot of records, and I feel like this was his best season out of his whole 20-something year career. This has to be his best season. Like I have never seen nothing out of Tom Brady so great out of all his career, except the way he played the season. So there's nothing really else to say about Tom Brady. Just know that Tom Brady played really well for his age at QB. Now Joe Burrow, I gotta give him an A. Now he did take the Bengals to the Super Bowl, but I still think he's not in the S tier yet. I still think Joe Burrow is learning the game a little bit more and stuff. So, and don't get me wrong, he's a really good QB. I like the way Joe Burrow can sling it and throw it, but I still think he has a lot more to learn. And I think he did it in his second year, but I still think Joe Burrow has a lot more to learn. So I'm gonna put him in A. I'm pretty sure Joe Burrow will be up here soon with Tom Brady, but just right now, keep him A tier. Dak Prescott A tier because Dak Prescott, you don't play in a good division. You're 1-5 versus 10-win teams. Don't get me wrong, you're an okay QB, but it's like when you play like competition teams, you just don't get the job done. The 49ers was just the biggest example of them all. You literally killed the clock off. You caused your team to lose that game because you didn't slide sooner. You sold that game. Like you can't be doing stuff like that if you're going to be the future franchise QB for the Dallas Cowboys. You clearly sold the game against the San Francisco 49ers when you were better off doing a Hail Mary from before instead of wasting all the clock off. Like you chewed that clock. Like you did what I'd be doing on Football Fusion, chew clock at the wrong time. So yeah, you're A tier until I say you're not close right now. I don't know if this is considered Taylor Heineke, but if it is, I got to give him a C because the football team is not really a good team. He doesn't really have anything behind him. He went from third string to first string in like a season. Like it's just his first season as a full starter, and I feel like Taylor Heineke is just not there yet. He's just not ready for the start position. So there was a reason he was third string, second string, whatever he was on the football team or now the Washington Commanders. But I feel like he's just not average yet. He's still learning a little bit more of that playbook. Mahomes, as good as he is, I gotta give him an S. He played really good as he usually does, like he always do. But you gotta learn that when you have 8-man coverages in the back, you need to run the ball because that's what you failed to figure out against the Cincinnati Bengals. They're playing an 8-man deep, meaning they were playing a cover four the entire second half, and you didn't want to run the ball. Like you got to scramble. Like I think there was one point at the end of the game where it was 24-21, and this dude was just standing there. He just like stood in one spot for a second, and then he got strip sacked, and he was lucky to O line to get back on it. I don't know what happened. I just know he got strip sacked. He fumbled, and I know they did get it back, but I don't know who got it back. But I just know that you can't be doing that. But other than that, you had a really good season, Mahomes. I like it. Tyrod, this is his first season, right, with the Houston Texans, right? I don't know if I could give him a D or a C because if he's a rookie, I'll give you a C, but because I haven't really seen much out of him enough to say he's just straight up garbage. Because if he's a rookie, or is this like his first season starting, I'm gonna just keep you at the C. And if you exceed expectations, I may put you up in a B or A. But I just have to leave him a C because I haven't really seen enough from him. I really don't watch the Houston Texans. I don't really break down the Texans. Now Sam Darnold, you getting a D because we changed teams up for you, and you're still doing the same thing. The Panthers have a way better team than the New York Jets, and you're standing up here doing the same thing. You're throwing 3 interceptions to one team, and no, you're a D, clearly a D. Jared Goff, oh, it's tough, but I'm gonna give you a C. I don't give Jared Goff a B for a reason because Jared Goff just proved my point. He's proved Sean McVay's point when McVay traded for Stafford. Clearly, Goff was the issue in LA, but Jared Goff didn't have a good season on the Lions either. He couldn't. He also didn't stay healthy towards the end of the season. That doesn't help him. But I feel like Jared Goff didn't have too much of a good season in Detroit either. Like he was the reason Detroit was losing so many games. Yes, Detroit had a bad defense and stuff, but Jared Goff on offense was one of the main reasons they kept losing too. So he's in a C tier for the Detroit Lions. Now Aaron Rodgers gets an A+ because not a S tier. He's in the S tier because he's MVP, back-to-back MVPs once in 2 seasons. That's really crazy how one player has done that. But the problem I have with Aaron Rodgers is him and his postseason success. Like you have a stacked team around you. The Packers are a stacked team. Now, obviously now they're not, but when they have their team, you're just not. You just don't be playing well. And in the playoffs, it's time. When it's playoff time, you just don't show up. I don't see Aaron Rodgers the same Aaron Rodgers and I do in the regular season. Like you got to show up in the playoffs, bro. If you gonna be that good, get MVP back-to-back seasons, show up in the playoffs. You can't be losing to a team that's own you. The 49ers literally own Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. Yes, they own my team too, but at least they don't own him in the playoffs. Who is this? Zach Wilson? C, because he's a rookie. I'm giving all rookies C's because you can't just grade all rookies based off of what their first year performance is. Yes, he didn't have a first good half of the season, but I feel like Zach Wilson had a strong second half of the season, so that's why I'm giving him a C. Russell Wilson, I'm giving him a B because he didn't have too good of a season this season, and it's not his fault. Injury got to him, so that's why he's a B. I'm pretty sure Russell Wilson will be right back up in this A or S tier again because, once again, only reason I'm putting him down here is because his health. He just was not good when that thumb came back. Russell Wilson didn't like Russell Wilson when he came back. You guys can watch the film. I'm telling you right now, Russell Wilson didn't look like Russell Wilson when he came back. Daniel Jones, I gotta give him a C because Daniel Jones, he just don't have a good O line. The Giants just need to fix O line issues, and I think they're set because you got Kenny Golladay, you got Kadarius Toney. They have some fast people. They have some fast and good receivers on that team. They just need the O-line to give Daniel Jones some time because Daniel Jones with a clean pocket, he can throw this ball now. He can also do some trick plays and catch it. Seen him make a one-hand catch, but Daniel Jones is a C until I see what happens this year, and he needs to stay healthy because he got unhealthy at mid-season, and I think that was against the Dallas Cowboys. He was unhealthy a lot. Now Kirk Cousins gets an A because. Yes, Kirk Cousins can be inconsistent at times, but this is probably the best season of Kirk Cousins I've ever seen. Kirk Cousins played really good this season. I don't care what anybody else says. Kirk Cousins is not a trash QB. Kirk Cousins played really well. I don't know why people call Kirk Cousins trash because the Vikings went 8-9. That's not his fault. They're just really inconsistent. The Vikings are just inconsistent in general. Like Kirk Cousins has probably only had like a few bad games here and there, but overall he played pretty decent. Like you can't really get mad at Kirk Cousins. Josh Allen, he gets an A because I don't put him in this S tier with these guys. There's a reason for that. Josh Allen, yes, he had a really good postseason run against New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs. And yes, it's debatable that the Bills should have had another chance to get the ball back. But watch him throughout the season. He didn't play well in the competition. You got defeated by the Colts. You lost to the Buccaneers, and that was your fault too because Jay was down so bad. You threw 3 interceptions on the Falcons, even though you won that game. But the only reason the Bills were so good this season was because of their defense, not their offense. Look at their offense. Their offense only showed up in the playoffs. I need you to be consistent all day. I need you to be consistent most of the season. You weren't even consistent most of the season. The only reason you made it is because you play in the AFC East, and your schedule is kind of easy. Because when you had to play tough opponents, you didn't win. You didn't beat the Colts. You didn't beat the Bucks. You didn't beat the What else did you lose to? Who I don't know who they had on their schedule. Every comp team they had, they pretty much lost to. You lost to the Titans too. The only reason you beat the Chiefs was because they were depleted at the beginning of their season. Because apparently you couldn't beat them when it mattered in 13 seconds. So clearly you are an A-tier quarterback. Justin Herbert. Oh, I gotta give him an A because I can't put Joe Burrow here and not put Justin Herbert here because in my opinion, Justin Herbert is better than Joe Burrow. Justin Herbert I feel like Brandon Staley with his offense, he's too aggressive. You can't be that aggressive if you're trying to get in the playoffs. Like you can't be going for it on 4th and 1 in your own territory. Like they was going for it on 4th and 1 on their 15, and the Raiders scored a touchdown the next play, one play. No, don't do that. Just be patient. Justin Herbert is an A-tier quarterback for his like second or third year. He's doing really well, growing really fast. But I can't put Joe Burrow here and not put him here because Justin Herbert is clearly better than Joe Burrow. That's just facts. It's debatable, but I still think Justin Herbert is better than Joe Burrow. Now Ryan Tannehill, you get a B because you got carried by the Titans all season. You got carried. Let me tell you why. Because Derrick Henry was the main reason. I mean, yes, Derrick Henry got injured mid-season, but the Titans' defense was really good. That's the only reason they made it to the playoffs. The Titans had a really good defense, and your division is trash. You played the Texans twice, for God's sakes, and you almost got swept by the Texans. That's a problem. You played the Texans and Jaguars twice. Good for you. You played the Titans didn't have a really hard schedule. That's the only reason they won the AFC as one seed, because you played the Bengals and got defeated in the first round. That just proves my point. And you threw three. And guess why they lost that game? Because you threw 3 interceptions. Once again, that's why you're a B tier QB. You got carried that season. Now Tua is a B because I feel like Tua didn't do enough for the Dolphins this season, and I'm looking forward to see more Tua this season. So I think Tua was actually injured for the first half of this season as well, so I can't really get mad at Tua for him not being healthy. So Tua, I just need to see more of Tua. I haven't really seen enough of Tua because just haven't. Who is this? Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. Both of them get B's because I feel like Jameis Winston gets the A, but Taysom Hill's bringing him to the B. Let me tell you why. Jameis Winston was playing really good before he got injured, but if I had to put these two together, they make a B because I just don't like the combination. I feel like Jameis Winston is clearly the better starter over Taysom Hill. Jameis, I would put an A, but to him, I'll put an B. But overall, together, they're a B. I just don't like their duo. I just like Jameis Winston being the only QB on the field at the time. So I think Taysom Hill just needs to change positions. I just don't like him at QB. You can't be just running the ball only. Don't like that. Now Kyler, he's an A. Kyler was doing really good. He was doing really good at the beginning of the season before he got injured. The problem with Kyler Murray is that his health, when you hit midseason and the Cardinals start to plummet down. They did this twice in a row. The season before, the Cardinals were 6-3, second in the division behind the Rams. The Rams. Yeah, second behind the Rams. You went from 6-3 to 8-7. You can't do that. Actually, they went from 6-3 to 8-8 because they lost to the Rams with the second string QB in. So the Cardinals, they just need to stay healthy, and then they'll win. They'll be good. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals don't stay healthy in the second half of the season. It's not just Kyler Murray. The Cardinals in general just don't stay healthy in the second half of the season. Once again, 7-0. How you go from 7-0 to 11-5 or 12-5, whatever it was? No, they went 11-6. My fault. They went 11-6. You can't go from 7-0 to 11-6. And one of the losses were to the Lions. That just proves that the Cardinals have a really bad down. They just plummet really bad in the second half of the season. That cannot happen. That can't be happening every season. And Kyler Murray is demanding for a big contract, but I don't think the Cardinals should give it to you because you can't stay healthy. They need you. They need you for the entire season, man. Not for one half of the season. Because you come back and you don't play well. Like Kyler Murray just doesn't play well in the second half of the season. He just plays horrible. Now Derek Carr, put him in A. Derek Carr is a good QB. He's probably one of the most underrated QBs I've ever seen. Like he's basically who else is underrated? I don't know, but he's really underrated. Derek Carr needs more respect than he gets, but he doesn't get enough respect. He's at A tier QB. Jalen Hurts, he's a B because he's still getting used to the game. He just needs to work on his throwing a bit more. Jalen Hurts can throw the ball, but the issue with Jalen Hurts is it's just when he gets good teams. The Eagles have lost to every good team they play. They're really winless. They're like 0-7 against good teams. So the problem with Jalen Hurts, just get your throwing accuracy better. Not really nothing wrong with him. He can scramble and run. Don't get it wrong here. Jalen Hurts can break some people now. The Saints game was a good example of Jalen Hurts using his legs. Really good run on the Saints for a touchdown. I like that run. That's probably one of my favorite QB runs of all season. That run right there by Jalen Hurts. Now Baker Mayfield, it's hard for me not to give you a D because of the way you act. Because it's not the way you play, it's just that the way you act. And the Browns did you wrong too. So don't say I'm not trying to defend the Browns, but Baker Mayfield should have sat out all season. He was not healthy. He wants to say he's not healthy. Sit your behind down. You ain't quit trying to act like quit trying to act tough. Everybody's trying to act like you're so tough, like just because you're playing through injury. We're totally not going to act like Matthew Stafford didn't play through 4 different injuries during the season. We're going to act like a few different QBs didn't play through injuries. Let's not forget Russell Wilson. So like come on, man, you're not the only QB that's playing through injuries. Chill out, man. You should have sat down on the bench because you played really poorly. How do the Browns not want you anymore after one horrible season from you? Like, dude, that's telling you something. The Browns really wanted to shine because they didn't want nothing to do with you anymore. They got tired of your crap. So yeah, you're just down there because you just stink. That's why. Like the Browns fans don't even want you there anymore. That's how bad it's gotten for the Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. A lot of just terrible relationship at this point. Now Jimmy G, Trey Lance, that's a B because Jimmy G is a B because he can manage the game really well, but he can't get it done when it matters. The only reason the 49ers got to the NFC Championship is because their defense is crazy. I never seen a defense like that. They have the best secondary in the NFL, plus a D line that's top 4, top 5, maybe top 3. The 49ers have a really strong defense, and they have a lot of weapons on offense too. You have Deebo Samuel, you have George Kittle, Raheem Mostert at one point before he got injured. Like the 49ers are a dangerous team. Brandon Ayuk, like the 49ers are just stacked. And for Jimmy G not to get the job done, that's what brings him to a B tier. The 49ers are a stacked team. That's why the 49ers don't want to do nothing to do with him anymore because he can't get the job done. 2019 was an example. Even though they got robbed against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 54, there were some plays Jimmy G could have made that I feel like he should have made. Like so, no. And I think this right here is the Drew Lock situation. D. If Teddy Bridgewater maybe C, but Drew Lock, I think that's bringing it down to a D. Teddy Bridgewater's not a DQB though. I'm just let you guys know right now. He's a worst C. Teddy Bridgewater just can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy. It doesn't matter what team he gets on. He got injured on the Vikings, the Panthers, the Saints, I think as well. Dude, he's got injured on every team he played on. He can't stay healthy. He even got injured on the Broncos. Like, no, that's why they're in a D tier. He can't stay healthy. Justin Fields, Andy Dalton, once again rookie, is at the job. Justin Fields. The problem with Justin Fields is that he's behind the Bears, and the Bears, when the QB goes to the Bears, they don't turn out well. That's the problem with Justin Fields, because he's just trash, and he's a rookie anyways. So I'm not gonna go too hard on Justin Fields. He's had a good splashes here and there, a few good moments. So I'm not gonna really roast Justin Fields. Lamar Jackson, he's a look. Lamar Jackson, sometimes his accuracy is crazy off, but Lamar Jackson is still a good QB. People are forgetting that Lamar Jackson was the 2019 MVP. You cannot forget this man was literally the number 1 on top 100. Don't forget that. Lamar Jackson. So the issue with Lamar Jackson is that his accuracy, like sometimes I just don't know who he be throwing to. Like that's the issue with Lamar Jackson. I promise you, if Lamar Jackson gets his accuracy right, the Ravens will win the Super Bowl. Like you can't tell me they won't. And the Ravens weren't even healthy. Like it wasn't just Lamar Jackson. He was not healthy either. So the whole Ravens squad was not healthy. That's why Lamar Jackson's in the A tier. Lamar Jackson is crazy. He's crazy dangerous at QB. He's a dual threat, and you can't have a QB that can run the ball really well, like a running back, and can throw the ball really well. But Lamar Jackson, he can throw the ball, but he just got to work on it just a little bit. He's like Jalen Hurts, but Lamar Jackson has better accuracy in my opinion, and more experience, so he knows what he's doing. So that's why Lamar Jackson's in A and he's in B. That's basically what that is to me. Now, is this supposed to be Matt Ryan before he got traded to? Yeah, I think this is Matt Ryan. So Matt Ryan didn't have a good season this season, so I'm putting him in B tier. It's not really his fault, but he didn't have a really good season. If you go back and rewatch his season, he had a terrible season this season. Can't really blame him for the Falcons being horrible. That's all I'm gonna say about that. It's not really his fault. It's good to see him on a better team like the Colts. Now the Cam Newton before he got cut, and Mac Jones. Mac Jones goes to a B. He's like the only rookie I put over all rookies because he played really well. I don't put him in A because I don't consider him better than any of these QBs that are in A tier. I just don't, obviously. But Mac Jones is the best rookie QB this season. Ain't nothing else to be said about it. Trevor Lawrence, like I said, I put in our rookies in C, except Mac Jones because Mac Jones is clearly the better QB. Oops, better QB this season. But yeah. Clearly, it was clear who the better QB was between these guys. But it's not really about who's a better QB. You can't forget how what team they're on because Trevor Lawrence was on the worst team. Zach Wilson was on a really bad team, and you got Justin Fields on a really bad team too. So like you can't just really say he's like the best QB because the Patriots are not a complete bad team. The Patriots still have some people on their team that are good. So that's the only reason that he's not an A tier because Matt Jones really did not take that team to the playoffs. Because when you went to the playoffs, you got blown out by the Bills. You beat this is the same team you beat with running the ball 46 times, but you threw the ball 30 times. Yeah, that's my point. That's why you're in B tier. Not because you didn't play well. It's just that I just don't see you as an A tier QB just yet. I think you're B. Matt Stafford, put him up in here. Why would a QB that's been playing for 12 years go for 1 year on an actual good roster and win a Super Bowl? That's all I got to say. Matthew Stafford's clearly an S tier QB. He's better than all these QBs down here. Nothing else to be said. Big Ben, he's a B. Not because of the scheme he's under. The Steelers don't have the Steelers. I think the issue with the Steelers is that their offensive scheme is horrible. I think Big Ben can still throw the ball down the field a bit. I really think we didn't get to see Big Ben throw it deep at all a lot this season, but when he can throw this ball deep, he can dime now. Don't underestimate Big Ben. Big Ben can throw this ball even though he's still old or at his oldest peak. But no, Big Ben can throw this ball. I don't know why people are considering him a C or D tier quarterback. No, at worst, Big Ben's a B. At worst, because Big Ben is not a bad QB. He's just not in it anymore. He's just out of his prime. People need to learn how to grade QBs properly. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I graded all QBs the best I could. But if this is Carson Wentz, he's getting a D. That's maybe too harsh. I don't know if I should put Carson Wentz. He's close to a D. I may just put him down there just for the heck of it. He's a D because you had a stack. Oh, you had the best O line in football. The Colts have the best O line in football. The Colts have a really good defense in football. You have arguably the best running back in football, and you still can't get them to the playoffs. You can't beat the Jaguars, buddy. That's why you in the D tier. Yes, he threw 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions like he did on the Eagles, but you on a better team. You gotta do more than 27 touchdowns, man. That's not enough. You gotta do a little bit more than that. You're on a team with a better O line, a good running back, a good defense, and you got it. And you can't get more wins than whatever you got 9. I think they went 9-8 or something, but I don't know what their record was. You gotta get more than 9 wins or whatever wins they had, because they thought you were supposed to be their future quarterback, and you can't get them over the hump. You gotta get them to the playoffs at least, buddy. They was already talking about trading you midseason, so because you weren't playing well. Like you gotta be able to play well, Carson Wentz. That's all. That's my grade for every QB that season. I hope you guys can tell me who you disagree with and agree with, or tell me what I could do better. That's all I gotta say for these QBs.